Hello everyone and welcome to Walford Weekly, your weekly EastEnders podcast, where this week we'll be discussing episodes released on the BBC in the UK from Monday the 16th to Friday the 20th of January 2023. Hope you're all well. I trust that you all are. Someone who is very well. I'm running out of ideas with these intros. Is Rob. Hello Rob, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Alexandra? Well,
yes, I'm good.
Good. I'd like to just I know this is untraditional, okay? This is how we normally do things. But I'd just like to read out this email that I received this week.
I'll sit back and listen.
Yeah. A lovely man called Jeff Durst emailed us this week. Now he sent us some stuff that I might come back to this email at the end because he mentioned Zack and all that kind of thing. So with the I want to gossip thing, we'll come back to this. Remind me, write it down, Alex. But he did also say, finally, while you're both great, I adore Rob's personality and charm. With all due respect to Alex, his wit doesn't hold a candle to Rob's, and if I lived in the UK, I'd be first in line to ask Rob out for a date. There you go.
So Jeff, come on over to the UK.
I was bloody used to the USA, are you, Jeff? Eh?
If he did come over, I'd like to have the whole thing documented and put on the channel.
The new Kardashians, Rob's date with Jeff. At home with the Dursts.
Oh my god, that's got a ring to it.
There you go. That's got a thing, isn't it?
So you take his name, would you? I know we're talking about marriage before you've even met the guy.
Does that work?
Rob Durst. Would you double barrel it? Innis Durst?
Innis
Durst.
Durst Innis. Does it have to be in alphabetical order when you hyphen names? Is there a rule?
No, I don't think it doesn't. I think, but isn't there like always an argument like whose name comes first is the more important name?
I mean, if you get through that argument, then you're set for life, aren't you? That's okay. That's your first hurdle to overcome.
So you wouldn't take the name of Jeff? You wouldn't take Jeff's
Durst,
name?
Innis Durst. I'd think about it. We'd have that conversation.
I think Rob Durst sounds all right.
Unfortunately, Jeff Durst, or Jeff Innis, whichever way you want to call yourself, Brexit.
Oh, he's taking your name now.
Well,
Brexit.
We're going to explore.
What's Brexit got to do with it?
I can't. No, it's not in Europe. It's not in Europe, is it?
Not in Europe, United States, of Europe.
This is what happens. This is why Alex makes me get up at stupid o'clock in the morning to record these podcasts, so he knows that I'm going to make some stupid error because my brain hasn't quite woken up yet, and he can take advantage of that and just make himself feel.
So
better.
you might be. Yeah. You might be wittier, but I know my geography better than you. I know the Americas aren't in the mainland Europe.
Put together, we are one basic human being. So there you go.
We are. Just mould us into one. Yes. Oh, I'm pleased that you got that email, Rob.
Yeah,
that's made my day.
There you go.
If anyone wants to, make me feel good about myself,
don't bother.
Please do get in touch. But it will never happen. Just throwing
out
there.
Alex, to be honest, all you need to do is have a shave, and everyone's thirsty for you when you've had a shave, aren't they? So just have a shave, and then they'll all come flooding back. It's a bit, isn't it?
It's too cold. My beard's keeping my face warm. It's my face warmer. Have you seen those crocheted things you can buy online where people like put their beard into? So it's like a beard hat.
No, I haven't.
Only one of them. Okay. Again, must be in my Amazon history.
I'm sure. That's Christmas sorted. There we are then. So, shall we discuss this week's EastEnders?
I think we should, and I think we should jump straight in to Zack's story. I know we are. We're going to give it a go. So Zack's story. He went to the clinic, got himself tested. He is HIV. He's been tested positive with HIV.
Although not that you'd know from the nurse's demeanour that he was HIV. It was like she just told it, actually you have got a bunion. I'm so sorry. Sorry for this mild inconvenience.
She was very casual about it, wasn't she?
Casual about it. Didn't really care. Maybe the last patient of the night, maybe. She's had a long day. Wasn't really that interested. Yes, you have got HIV. Now, can you please get out of my office? I haven't got time for this.
Again, shows my naivety kind of because of the fact that the test was very quick. It was just a standard kind of blood test, wasn't it? That they popped on a stick.
I think it is quite easy to test for it these days. I think it is quite easy. Yeah. I mean,
it was like a COVID test. It was like
that would be a big thing for them to sort of write badly, wouldn't it? Really. So I'm pretty sure they probably got that right.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know anything about it.
No.
This is me learning more about the whole.
Yeah, but then I've had. We won't go into details, but all men should have one at some point. But I've been, tested, for all sorts of things, after few weekends of madness, and you know, it is quite easy to have those. You know, everything is tested quite quick, so it's the waiting for the results that is normally the worst bit. But it's good that they can do that and then just provide you with the answer there and then, because otherwise you'd be going mad, wouldn't you?
Well, you see, Rob, and I'm not saying this to sound impressive, but I've been in a relationship for almost 11 years now, so I've not needed to do that kind of stuff. So that's what I mean. So I'm kind of like, since it's been a while since I've been down to the old clinic.
Right. Wait till me and Jeff get going.
No, that's what I mean.
And then I'll rub it in your face. All right. All right.
I'm not rubbing it in your face. That's why I was afraid of saying it, but I just wanted to justify how I'm very naive and very, very green
clean,
about all these
very
things.
Clear. Let's be honest.
But because...
very clear and very defunct of any sort of STDs. All right, we get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a clean guy. I'm a clean guy.
And I like
so because Zack went to the because Zack went to the clinic. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, because Zack went to the clinic, he had to give a list. He had to give a list of names of people who he had slept with, so they could then send out texts. Again, I thought that Zack had to do that, but no, the clinic does it on his behalf.
Yeah, I didn't
they
know
don't know who it was. That was exciting. That was news to me as well. See, I'm so naive of all this, which is great because these not a clue, which is great because this story is teaching me a lot. So Sam obviously gets the text message. She goes to the clinic. She's in the clear. But more importantly, Whitney. Now, Whitney doesn't get the message because Zack doesn't give the nurse her name, but she has to have blood tests for the pregnancy.
Yep.
So while she's having the scan with her, so while she's, we're never getting pregnant, so that's probably safe.
No,
getting women pregnant, I feel.
I think that's the one thing that we should be able to skip that drama out of our lives, really, shouldn't we?
Lots of people went with Whitney to the hospital, but not Zack. But Zack was kind of clinging to her a little bit, kind of catching up with her all the time, asking her, you know, have you got the results yet? Have you got the results yet? But it seems as though she is clean as well. So Zack seems to be on his own on this one. So,
well, as far as we know, I mean, the other two that we haven't, and I have a feeling we're not going to hear about is Janine, obviously. Now, they had a one-night stand, and Zack thought of made a reference when he was asked whether you always use protection. He was like, yeah, obviously, yeah. So we could sort of maybe glean that he used protection with Janine, so that's kind of easily worked around because they only did sleep together once. If Sam hasn't got it, because they did it a fair few times...
yes,
memory will never leave me. And then the only other thing is Nancy. Now you could work around Nancy maybe in the sense that she obviously, because when Nancy first came in, she didn't want to have children, so maybe she always made Zack wear protection. You could maybe work around it that way, possibly. So we might not have to think about Nancy and her possibility. So if that's the case with both of them, then we're all sort of good and we're sorted in terms of who might have it and who might not have it. So there you go. I think we're all right.
He's clear, but so he's met up with his friend Brett a few times as well. Brett's kind of giving him advice. I mean, I can't get she's talk ish. It's like a kind of weird Sean Connery-ish type voice.
Oh, I see. Exactly.
Concerns me. Don't know why it concerns me. It just does. No. It's just one of those things. You know me. I sit in front of the TV sometimes. I get distracted, and those kind of things and things that distract. What was it we were talking about for hours last week? It had to be cut because we talked so much about it. Sandwich making. Making.
Oh, you think that we talked about it too much in the podcast? You want to see what was on the editing room floor?
You should have seen what we talked about. Goodness me!
It's like it's like we were having a meeting at Subway. The amount of stuff we were talking about with that.
Oh, that would be amazing if we popped on a little Subway hat where we had a chat. Whitney was concerned as well when she got that message from the doctor because she thought there might be a danger of her having a miscarriage. A little story they went back to when she had caught chlamydia when Lee slept with Abby.
Oh my God! So, the chlamydia pandemic.
Yeah, that's it. And Abby was trying to have a baby to keep Ben.
Yeah. That was madness, wasn't it? Like, I've got chlamydia, you've got chlamydia, I've got chlamydia. Oh, what's going on? Yeah, that was fun. It was nice
to think about Abby, though.
It was. What I did learn this week, courtesy of Mummy the nurse, because occasionally, Walford Weekly kind of goes to our resident medical expert, my mother, who's a sister at A&E. And I was asking her about it, and she was like, well, actually, the stuff... She wasn't impressed with the nurse for a start. She really wasn't impressed with the nurse who gave the diagnosis. She was fuming about that. But she gets so cross. Honestly, any sort of medical... She had to stop watching Casualty because it just drove her mad.
Oh, really?
No, it's driving mad. I mean, obviously they're probably better at doing medical representation than the other show, but they can't get everything right. So yeah,
No.
she had to stop. But the thing with it is, if the baby wouldn't have got it off Zack necessarily, it was more if Whitney had contracted it. So if Whitney had it, then the baby was more likely to have it. But if Whitney didn't have it, then the baby won't have it. So it wouldn't have been the case of Whitney not having it, but the baby did. It would have been. It was like they would have to have gone through Whitney. So Whitney hasn't got it. So all is well with the baby, effectively.
Oh,
So,
okay. God, it's good to have a resident nurse on team. It's really
Isn't it just?
You're so helpful. From her very meager days at the beginning when she revved her car engine very loudly while we were trying to record the podcast.
She's had to work to earn your trust since then.
She has. I'll never trust her again. So Zach's not got a job at the moment, or is he still at Peggy's because he missed out on getting the job at Walford East, didn't he?
I think he's still at Peggy's. No, because it was behind the shift. It was behind the bar when he kind of first found out about it, wasn't he? He was sort of drinking while he was working. And that's when he turned around to Whitney and says, like, I don't want to do with it. And then sort of walked away, wasn't it? So yeah, I think he is still working at Peggy's. I'd be interested to know whether Sam could kind of work out where this text message had come from, because it's not like we've seen Sam, even though we can imagine Sam being a bit of a vamp, shall we say. But she's been with Ricky now for quite a little while, and she's not, and as far as we know, she hasn't gone astray. So the last person she would have slept with was Zack. So I wonder if she's able to kind of put two and two together like that. I'm not sure. But
also Ricky. I'm surprised that Sam didn't mention it. I suppose Sam didn't need to, though. I suppose if she's clear.
Well, yeah, she went and got tested, so that was probably the worry. I think that's why because Ricky said at some point, Sam got the text message, didn't she? And then she was with Ricky when she got the message, and he was kind of going to come back to mine. And she was like, no, I'm tired and I must go to bed immediately, and then sort of left. So obviously, Ricky's idea of a bit of rumpy pumpy would have been slightly concerning. So I think that's why she turned him down that time. So now that she's got the all clear, get in there, Ricky lad, I think is the general consensus.
Well, and also she's off to Germany because she wants to go back to her triple egg fried sandwich.
Is she?
Well, is she? I know. As much as it'd be lovely to have a happy ending with Sam and Ricky, because I feel like they should always be together. At the same time, I don't want to see Sam go. So I don't think they would let her go. So
she's too good to lose at this point, I think.
And
I was sort of kind of like, when Ricky's sort of wandering around being sort of the Neanderthal bloke that he is. Bless him, we love Ricky, but he is kind of quite simple in that regard, isn't he? Like,
he's quite simple.
Triple egg sandwich. Have you ever had triple egg sandwich? And well, you can't. I don't like it either. But he's kind of quite simple with all that sort of thing. So I was surprised that Sam sort of was still sold at that moment, because Sam's kind of, since we've had Sam back, you've sort of got this impression that she kind of quite likes, the extravagant lifestyle, kind of being wined and dined, and sort of being with someone like Ricky. I don't know whether that 100% suits her at the moment, so I'm wondering if that's going to be sort of the catalyst for it. And also, with the Lily stuff going on, I very much doubt whether Sam is going to leave Ricky Jr. Behind when all of this comes out. I think that might be the moment where she kind of goes, yeah, no, I need to stay here. And also, if you notice, we ain't seen Scarlett once since Boxing Day, so I don't know if we're going to see her again. Are we going to see her again? I don't know if we are.
I do fear that perhaps the contract was very similar to Charlie Brooks, and so that she's talked about but never seen, like all children should be. Talked about but never seen. So Zach's got a long way to go to get Whitney's trust back. Whitney kind of said she wants to go out on her own. I wonder if Zach's ever gonna, how's this all gonna come out? This is the next thing, I suppose. How's it all gonna come out? Because who's going
to be the first to? Who's he going to tell first? Do you think? Is it going to be?
I think Martin? Sharon.
Sharon, you think, or Sam?
Sharon or Martin?
I can imagine him telling Sam. To be honest, I quite like this sort of friendship that they've got kind of going on. The sort of thing. Yes, we have had sex, and we probably will do it again one day. But at the moment, I know you, and you know me quite well. I like that sort of thing. It was a bit like the Max and Stacey type relationship, where they knew each other quite. I mean, obviously, there's not as much history. I know that. Get off your keyboards. But I quite like that. Sex can be a quite good indicator of a good friendship. It sort of scratches away at sort of the shields that you put up between yourselves.
Yeah.
So you can sort of get to know each other quite well and quite quickly like that. So I like that. I wouldn't mind if it was like, maybe that will be it. The Sam will put two and two together and think, do you want me and you need to have a conversation, sunshine? And then he'll sort of work it out. She'll work it out that way. I don't know.
Well,
Do
we'll
you
see.
think that Zack knows about Mark? Do you think Martin will have told him?
I don't know. I doubt it. Do you talk about the history of your family to that extent when you're, I mean, how long have they been friends? A couple of years, maybe? I suppose they may have over a few drinks.
Fair, friendships in Walford, that's like dog years, isn't it? You know each other's lives, your music choice, your social security number, your national insurance number, and your passport number by the time you've known each other a month. So it's he might know. Maybe I can imagine him sort of knowing that his brother had died, but not what from. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that.
I mean, it certainly will get brought up when Martin finds out. It will certainly get brought up by that point. Yes. No, I don't think it's common knowledge with Zack right now. But yeah, no. Again, it's a nice conversation for Zack and Martin to have. I think that's why I kind of would be keen for Martin and or Sharon to find out first, because they kind of have that kind of history. They're kind of like the OGs, aren't they? If you think about it. Yeah. So. It'll work out nicely. No, I know. Dropping like flies. Adam Wood might come back though. We never know. All right, love. Right. Okay. So talking about love, actually, the next the next story will be about
next motif.
But yes, unrequited love, perhaps. Ooh. Ravi has been playing mother and daughter off one another,
naughty boy,
in order to get what his ultimate goal is, and that is Denise. He really has a candle for Denise, doesn't he? Denise seems to have been taken, even though they didn't kiss or do anything last week. Denise seems kind of like knocked back by kind of like how she's kind of feeling toward Ravi, and I think that surprised her a little bit. I think it's more than the arms. It's the chest, it's the legs, it's the everything. It's the package, the complete package.
Wondered where you were going with that.
So Ravi decided, he thought, here's a trick. I'll flirt with Chelsea and make Denise jealous. Worked quite successfully, which surprised me actually how this ended this week. Because I thought he was going to continue pursuing Chelsea, and then there's going to be one of those stories where he's together with Chelsea. He's together with Chelsea. They're having this relationship, maybe 2-3 months down the line. And then when there's a quiet moment, Denise and him then get together, and then he's having an affair behind
Square.
Yeah, the daughter's back. So the mother and daughter are sleeping with the same man. I thought that would have been a really sweet little story as well.
It still might.
I suppose it could still happen.
Although Chelsea didn't seem that bothered, I didn't think. She didn't say a word. She didn't be light in that scene. She was just like, I'll go inside then. Fair enough. Okay, cool.
Fair enough. I mean, Ravi has ended it with Denise. Not with Denise, with Chelsea. After Denise had kind of almost begged him to kind of not play with her. She's had quite hard.
Denise spent a lot of the week just sort of standing on opposite sides of a square, just staring.
Hiding. She kept walking forward and then quickly stepping back again and then staying behind the wall. Hiding from the situation. Yeah. But yeah, no,
you could take a photo standing from the top of Gray's house, but like, where's Wally? Where's Denise? She's in there somewhere, staring at Ravi.
She'd knit her a nice red and white striped hat and give her a cane.
Yeah, she'd
suit round glasses.
Little glasses. Yeah, she'd suit it.
She would look good. I can imagine her walking around the square like Doctor Who almost, with a big long scarf hanging down.
Sylvester McCoy swinging her umbrella around.
Step into a TARDIS, flow off, go to the Fox and Hare and do her work. Yeah, it'd be fine. Can you imagine abusing like such a thing like the TARDIS just to go to work every day?
Great, I'd do it. For sure I'd do it. You know I would.
That's a right abuse of power, that would be.
Yeah.
Look at me trying to intertwine the Doctor Who fans out there into our little podcast.
It's not bad considering you don't watch it.
I know, it's amazing considering that. I was meant to say to you, Russell T Davies is on Graham Norton tonight, just so you know.
Is he? Oh, good. Yes. Thank you. I didn't know that.
That's okay.
Him. He's my hero. I know
Russell
you
love
T
him.
Davies.
I know you do, so I thought I'd bring it up. So Denise.
Yes.
Such a good story. What do you think about Denise? Her situation.
I do enjoy this, and I'm not convinced it's entirely over between him and Chelsea, even though Chelsea didn't say a word of protest about anything. I'm not convinced it's completely over, and I do like the idea of a love square, because it's a long time since we've had one, and it suggests it looked like it was going, because there was Jack involved as well, and it looked like it was kind of heading in the direction of a good old fashioned bleep show, of confrontation when it all kind of came out. So I was kind of looking forward to that. So I don't know where this is going. I do like this sort of. I know Ravi's not exactly being nice during this, but I do kind of quite like this sort of like new direction-ish for Ravi, rather than it just being him sort of worried about Nish. He's kind of got his own little story to kind of go off on at the moment, which I think is a good decision. So yeah, I am enjoying this and sort of seeing where it's going to go. Denise, what's she going to do here, do you think? I mean, she clearly is kind of quite entranced by Ravi, otherwise she wouldn't be doing half of the stuff that she's done, would she? She can kind of comfort herself with the notion that, oh, well, I'm just trying to protect Chelsea, but are you really, Denise? Like, it's I'm not convinced.
Well, exactly, because I feel like she didn't want him being with Chelsea because she didn't want him in her life, but it's going to be difficult to not have him in her life because they all live on that square. You know, they all live there. It's, you know, the community. You're right. I think it's really surprised Denise how much Ravi's kind of overtaken her affections. Yeah, on her head. Yeah, and I think Ravi will continue to pursue her. I just wonder what means. I mean, like I say, he's tried with the Chelsea route, you know, and that seemed like where the story was going. I don't know. Confusing me.
I was surprised. So I'm sort of. I think what he was trying to do was just sort of. I think in dumping Chelsea, he was trying to test Denise and sort of see what her reaction would be, because he was probably fairly sure. Should be somewhere. I'm sure she was staring at me from somewhere, and he was right. She happened to be standing behind the Vic at this particular moment when he did that. So I'm fairly sure that was maybe just a test to see how Denise would react, and if he doesn't get the reaction that he wants from Denise, I think he'll probably go after Chelsea again. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But I'm relatively curious as to how this is all going to go. I like it. You know, it's an old-fashioned affair story. Like we said before, long time since we've had one. So it's bring it on. I don't mind.
And I think it like I said, it kind of heightens it. It takes an old-fashioned affair story and heightens it being a mother and daughter.
Well,
so that's why I thought.
Also, the fact that when it does eventually come out, it's going to be the fact that Jack's first line of defense is going to be, I was dealing with Amy and her self-harming. That's quite a thing for her to sort of go and have an affair about, really. So at the same time, it sort of makes you look at Denise a little bit and think, I mean, I can get it because Jack has been a bit of an arsehole to her recently, but at the same time,
he does say sorry. He does apologise for it. To be fair to Jack,
yeah. I know,
so I mean, it's hard for Denise to, at the time, but afterwards, Jack. I mean, it doesn't excuse the fact that Jack has been a little bit of an arse, but at the same time, like at least he stands up to what he's done wrong. Not many Brannings would do that. A lot of Brannings would kind of just think everything they've done is right, and so they don't have any reason.
Jack is the most mature Branning. That's
who'd have thought it, eh?
Lord.
Actually, to be fair, I would argue that Amy's the most mature Branning right now.
I think she's what, 15? Oh dear.
But yes, I'm excited to see where the road this takes in the future. So we'll move on next then to a returning character and the reopening of the Vic. So the week began with Alfie, where there was money problems in the Slater house. Their rent's gone up, which we already knew. Alfie wanted to contribute. Got a text message from his bank saying, you're going into your overdraft, careful now. And so Alfie's like, well, what can I do? So he goes around.
I get that message every single week. Do you not?
I'm really careful. I'm quite careful. I'm quite good, actually.
No, I'm
really showing myself as being a bit of a boring old 40-year-old, aren't I?
Yes, you are. Cool with me, lads. I'm the cool one that doesn't know how to handle money. I'm the cool one. Come on,
Hang out with Rob.
Come on, Jeff.
Come on, Jeff Dirt.
I'm going to get such a load of messages now. I know I am. It's gonna be right.
So like Rob, Alfie was walking around the market looking for work. He asked Billy, there was nothing. He asked Stacey, I think, and he went to the Albert as well, and there was no work about. And then the idea got thrown out that Denise has got the keys to the Vic, and Alfie thinks, I know what I'll do. I'll reopen the Vic. Now, I believe. Well, it was a bit out of order. He then later on said he did it for Linda, so she had a bit of money coming in when she got back and everything would be okay. But yes, I don't believe that was actually the case to begin with.
For a second.
Not for a millisecond. No. There was lots of Alfie making public speeches this week, which we know my feelings on that. Though Linda came back, and she was a bit outraged by the whole situation.
Rage.
She was. It was like, boom. Yes. The mushroom cloud that came out from the roof of the Vic.
Quite right.
But the biggest revelation from Linda was that she wanted to sell the Vic. But after inquiring from her solicitor, and quite rightly so, and thank goodness continuity got this, she can't sell the Vic because Mick owns the Vic.
See, this went by me completely. When I watched that, I was kind of like, really? I thought Linda half owned this because I thought one of the big things.
She does half own it, but she can't sell the whole asset with just half.
Yeah, because they've basically set up. I mean, tell you what, they've written themselves into a beautiful little ribbon here, haven't they? Because because Mick's body hasn't been found, they can't have a funeral, so there's no reason for the kids to come back. I mean. Fair play. You can't criticise that. I can't criticise that goal. Fair play to you. That audacity of that. Fair play. Can't say anything wrong about that. Wow.
But, I mean, they reared themselves in the corner also, though, about the whole sale of the Vic, though, because they're obviously Mick's not dead, so they'd have to get a.
Oh, he is not there. You mean?
He's not been classified dead, has he?
Officially dead, yeah.
Officially dead. So they need to look for a presumed death certificate, which apparently takes 6 months. Which I thought took longer because we were watching that program, The Man, the Canoe, and remember the guy who faked his own going off in the canoe, and they said it takes 7 years to get a presumed death certificate.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if they changed the law, so it's now only 6 months, but that's so. But then Shirley has to apply for it apparently because also don't forget Mick's assets actually belong to Janine because Janine's married to Mick. So
wow,
they're in a bit of a pickle here, aren't they? How are they going to get themselves out of this one?
All in all, then, I mean, that's
so yes, hooray! The kids don't have to come back for a funeral.
Beautifully contrite, isn't it? But like I say, I can't fault them for that. Genuinely, as much as I'd love to be outraged by the ridiculousness of that, it's all true, so I can't complain. But fair, I just love the first thing we all thought when we knew Mick was leaving, we figured right, Mick's probably going to die. So how are we going to get? How many of the kids are we going to see? The answer is not one, because there's not going to be a funeral. I just stunned by that. I can't believe
it was a good out clause, to be fair.
It was fair enough.
They had a memorial. Wow. They had a memorial gig.
Yeah,
but we should step back a little bit because we first of all talk about Alfie and reopening the Vic with Patrick.
Now that's
and Jean helped clean.
Patrick the barmaid.
And Freddie.
I'm a big fan of. I like that. I never thought
Patrick the alcoholic drinking behind the bar.
I mean, it did give me my line of the week that moment. When Denise strolled in outrage, like, what the hell is going on here? Like, why are all these people drinking free drinks? Patrick's like, I can't remember what everyone. Oh well, I'll have to put you in a home then, won't I? I liked that. I thought it was quite a good line. Enjoyed that.
Poor Patrick. I mean, he was only Alfie. Like I said, Alfie did afterwards, kind of after giving away free drinks as well, which I thought was a bit bad as well with the kind of group. Like they all stood behind the bar and they,
cheek.
Alfie did say like
Mick would want us to have a free drink. No, he wouldn't.
Linda, her money woes, nor yours, Alfie. Yeah. He just wants a drink. But Alfie did step back and he did open it and say that he was obviously going to take a little wage for himself, but at the same time, he's the money, keeping the Vic in the consciousness of the community, and bringing it back to its former self. Freddie had a few antics as well. I feel like that was kind of like us kind of brushing aside the whole Freddie and Amy.
I mean, I had that mad moment of madness where I was like, is it Freddie for a second? But I don't think it is anymore. I do believe it is properly Ricky J. I think the thing is, we've just become so used to soaps like throwing all these mad, insane twists at you out of nowhere that now and again when they tell you that it is something, it actually is. Oh, that's a huge twist. I wasn't expecting you to be telling the truth when you told me that. So all right, fair play. So yeah, Freddie's kind of just doing his thing. And yeah, Alfie has sort of said now. What I was surprised by, I think, was that none of this revolved around Kat, which I think was kind of the stunning thing. Like, Kat didn't appear once this week, and it was all about Alfie and sort of him trying to do apparently stuff for Linda. Now, Linda and Alfie, what do we think? I mean,
I know, I thought that as well. I was watching this the whole time and thinking, I wonder if they're putting Linda and Alfie together.
I think a bit of grease sex might be having
for both,
because it's the best sex. It's the best sex. We all know that. So I literally half expected them. I literally
Sharon will probably approve
start
as
having
well.
Sex on the bar when the second that Linda was back. I was I need grease sex. So
you need to let Linda mourn. She's only just got the wallet, Nick's wallet back. The small part. I know. I thought the detectives were a bit rude, kind of walking in and like loudly
trained at the same place as Zack's HIV nurse, I think.
Yeah.
They all need a bit of help on the customer service.
We need to talk to you privately, Miss Carter. The whole pub listening.
There's been a development.
Your husband, you know, the one presumed dead.
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah, come upstairs.
Oh,
Come follow me.
yeah.
Poor old Ollie. Poor old Ollie was making a birthday card. When you were a child, I know that Ollie's autistic, but did you ever remember your mum and dad's birthday? I had to be reminded of it.
I struggle
constantly.
now.
I still do. Yeah. Not that I don't love my parents.
No,
but of course.
We are terrible sons. That's
very bad. In fact, I think my mum's is coming up soon.
Mine's not till December. Mine's not till December. It's Mother's Day I worry about. I always forget about that. I will always drop into conversation. So, Mother's Day coming up soon. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sat in the corner thinking, oh my god. So, yeah, that's the one.
Oh God, no! Don't say that. Which comes first, Mother's Day or Father's Day? Father's Day is in March, isn't it?
I don't know. Like you're asking me, wrong person to ask, Alex. That's what we've gleaned from this conversation.
Yes. Oh goodness, I'm going to be a bad son again this year. Hooray for me! Yeah. So yeah, Ollie was making a card though for his dad, and
so cute. He's my favorite. He's my favorite.
He is cute, isn't he? Isn't he a bit? He's a chip off Danny Dyer, isn't he? If they said that was Danny Dyer's son, I would not blink. I'd be like, oh yeah, it is.
I know. Oh, he's adorable. I love Ollie. He's so sweet, and it's kind of like you kind of wonder like how much he's aware of what's going on. Like obviously the fact that he's making a birthday card for Mick because it's his birthday today suggests that he's not entirely processed. If he has been told anything, he's not entirely processed any of it. I can kind of half expect Linda hasn't told him anything, to be honest. Because she doesn't know how.
I don't think she has.
She's already had to go around everywhere explaining everything to all the other kids.
Oh yeah, she went around. She was doing the tour, wasn't she? Around the kids, the Linda Carter tour, 2022.
She's told Johnny, she's told Lee, and she's told Nancy what's gone on.
Oh.
Nancy's had a hell of a year, hasn't she? Bless her.
I know. Poor Nancy.
Poor Nancy. And then as soon as Linda Lee, she gets a message saying, "Oh, you might have HIV as well, by the way." Bless her.
It's the ghost of your dad warning you. Oh, I love. So I'm with you. I think that Ollie hasn't been told the full story just yet. But no, like also you bringing up Alfie and Linda, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, if I'm honest with you. I can see Linda being attracted to someone like Alfie purely because there's a bit of Mick in him, I think, as well.
And there was a hint. There was a hint before, wasn't there, in December time when he was working at the Vic, because Mick was getting jealous of their kind of like friendship. So there was a hint there happening. And as I say, Sharon approves. I still can't warm to old Alfie. It's just
I know.
I
wasn't sold by him sort of, basically delivering a eulogy for Mick. It's kind of just like you don't know Alfie.
in here.
We all know in here that he's got his ear. It's like you don't know him, Alfie. Be quiet. So, like,
also, if you've seen that they're kind of dressing him a bit like Alfie.
A bit as soon as he pulls a waistcoat out, we're gonna know.
I'm telling you, as soon as that waistcoat comes out.
What's going to happen is they're going to sleep. Him and Linda are going to sleep together once, and Linda's going to be like, "I've done that," and then he's going to walk down the stairs in the pink dressing gown. Telling you now, that's what's going to happen.
He'll grow a beard. We'll start doing miming slang for no reason whatsoever.
No reason whatsoever. There we go.
Mick's been replaced. I mean, we always knew that kind of Alfie was there for the Vic, and I think that seems to be
This is the beginning of it. This is the beginning of it, isn't it? Yeah.
He's there now, isn't he? Oh well. So I presume that the story will continue with Alfie working at the Vic and his relationship with Linda. And we'll see what goes on from there. But we briefly touched on Lily's story earlier, and we're just going to look a little bit more deeper in it because she had quite the revelation that she made at the end of this week. And we'll talk about that next. Lily's been searching for answers by walking around the square, and she spoke to Whitney in the cafe, asked her how she felt about being pregnant. Whitney was like, "This is the best day of my life."
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm delightful. And Lily's like, "All right, okay, I'll keep it then. Fair enough."
Fair enough. She then overheard a conversation with Lola and Sharon. We'll be talking about Lola's story at the end of the episode. And that in the background was happening. Her mum and her dad, Martin and Stacey, were kind of saying, we need to kind of convince her that, a termination is probably the best thing because she's very young. She's got a whole life ahead of her. And this will basically ruin any plans that she had or was planning to have in, her future. She wanted to be a librarian. She wanted to be a mechanic. She wanted to be a nurse. She wanted to be everything under the sun. She didn't want to sell clothes on the market store, although she has a niche for it, as she showed this week. Well, do you like that? Got your size here, £10.
Well, you were saying about Lily and Whitney. I think you've got that itch scratched now, haven't you? Because those two are gonna. If those two
Finally,
there you go. There you go.
Well, I mean,
will not disappoint. There you go.
I said that it was her godmother, but actually, it's her because it's Whitney's brother's daughter, so she's her niece. Ryan. Yeah. So, like, I'm still surprised that Whitney wasn't included in that conversation because Whitney actually doesn't know that Lily's pregnant.
No, but
they just had those. I know Whitney's busy. Whitney's very busy, eating ice buns and being pregnant.
Whitney's always busy.
Yes,
busiest woman on the square.
Everything Whitney touches turns to bad
storyline.
Yeah, it turns into a storyline. So Lily has basically announced then that she is wanting to go forward and having an abortion.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's true yet, though. You know, it's you know how these stories can flip flop in terms of I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do it. Yeah, I do want to do it. No, I don't want to do it. So I don't know if I'm not sure yet. See, now this is kind of awkward territory to walk down. But what do you want to happen, and what do you think should happen?
I would like to see an abortion storyline with Lily. Personally, I think it's the story because I think I did mention this last week. It's a story that doesn't really get touched on soaps. It's like if someone gets pregnant in whatever circumstance, it's always been encouraged for them to keep the child, and that's rightly or wrongly that's the view perhaps that they go forward with. And I think that it would be a brave step to say actually it's okay if you feel like it's not the right time or not the right situation. Again, this is coming from a man, so you know, from a woman's perspective they might completely different.
I mean, it does get touched on now and again in the soaps abortion. I think what might kind of put a halt on that was that Stacey was talking about Bradley this week, which was quite nice. And she was talking about the baby that her and Bradley nearly had, and so you know, examples of times the soap has covered abortion was when Stacey got rid of Bradley's baby, and it kind of became obvious this week that that's something Stacey does regret. Even though you kind of think of like, how many kids do you want, Stacey? Christ alive, like
that litter
turning into the Von Trapp family. And, she was talking about like how, you know, she thinks about that kid every day and how it is a kind of sadness in her. So I wonder if that's going to rub off on Lily and whether they're going to have a conversation about that, because that isn't a conversation Lily overheard. I don't think she was aware of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Stacey does at some point turn around to her and say, well, I've had this experience, so I'll throw that into your mix and see what that does to your head as well. You know, so I'm not convinced that we've actually come to the last decision of this yet. Obviously, of course, what we have still got to come is Ricky Jr. I can't wait till Ricky leaves. I love Ricky, but I love Ricky Butcher, but I can't wait till I have to stop calling him Ricky.
I'm surprised he's still there, old Ricky.
I know.
Jr., to be fair,
he came back to deal with the Janine storyline. He's now been on screen long. He's now had on screen longer than Janine left, and he actually shared screen time with when Janine was there. Like I say, it's been lovely to see him, but yeah, calling Ricky Jr. all the time is getting a pain. But so obviously Ricky Jr. has got to find out at this point, and then Jack's going to go mad. So all of that's still to come. So I wonder if that's going to influence Lily's decision at all, because Lily strikes me as the sort of teen that would just do it out of rebellion. No, I'm keeping it. If you're going to be like that, I'm going to keep it. So nah, you know. So I'm not convinced we've reached the stepping off point of this just yet.
I hope that Lily doesn't keep it though out of spite, because that's quite a major.
That's not right. It's not the right reason to be a mother, really, is it?
Like, she's very. So it kind of makes sense for her, you know, to maybe feel that way. But I think Martin was very relieved to hear that news, though. I think Martin was pushing it the most. But Stacey also said that she believed that he's a man. Decision. This is what I mean. It's one of those things. It's one of those conversations where, as a man, it's not my choice to kind of make.
No, and Martin was a little bit sort of caveman about it this week, I thought. I mean, I get it. You know, Lily is 12. I understand that. And I'm not saying that Martin is doing it from the wrong angle at all. But he was sort of just... It didn't occur to him for a second as to why Lily would want to keep it. There was no logic to it for him at all. So it's sort of like, I don't know whether they're gonna. I don't know, honestly. I don't think we've reached the end of this yet. No. There's still more revelations to come. So I think she's gonna have a lot of people telling her to get rid of it. That's the thing. and then she's going to, and now she's going to be hanging around with Whitney on the stool. I think that's where this
Yeah.
is heading. I think Whitney is going to be the sort of, just like bloody Whitney, like I say, everything she touches turns into a storyline. So I think Whitney is going to be the one that's sort of persuaded to keep it, weirdly, because if she's going to get closer to Whitney, then she's going to see sort of pregnancy firsthand, and and Whitney would be there to support her, and she'll probably tell Whitney herself. I think all in all, I think we're far from having this finished yet.
Yeah, Whitney basically had the same conversation really with Chelsea over whether to keep the baby, and she ultimately decided to keep it. So it would be interesting to see if, it'd be interesting to see if Whitney does have a similar conversation with Lily. But Whitney needs to know, and then she can have that conversation. But yes, anyway, we'll still see. And finally, then for this week, we'll be talking about Lola, and that's next. Finally, then, we're going to talk about Lola and Jay. Their wedding is impending. It's a couple of weeks' time. All the plans are happening. On Jay's side, Ben's getting very upset because this is mad. Ben's getting upset because he wants to be the best man, but he doesn't feel like Jay's going to ask him to be the best man. But so he decided to go to the cafe and eat cake bizarrely, very quickly with a spoon. He was like literally into his mouth, like eating to compensate, like him not being best man.
Well, he got all upset. He got all upset. He did. He got all upset because he thought that Billy had been asked to be the best man instead. So, and then he kind of got into his head that because he's Lexi's dad, that Jay would think it was weird not to ask him, and it was just all sort of like, I don't know. But but it did give us quite a nice Ben and Jay scene at the end of the week, because I do love a Ben and Jay scene, a really nice Ben and Jay scene at the end of the week where they sort of had that moment. Yeah.
Jay was like, why wouldn't I ask you? You're my best friend. You're my brother, and I love that they have that relationship between them. It was nice. Like you, it was lovely. It ended nicely, and I actually thought the conversation I had at the cafe mid cake eating. That I'm sorry, I don't want to bring it up again, and I know I have an obsession with food for some reason. But the way he was eating that cake, they really focused on it as well. It was like
anger directed on the cake. Yes, it was like. Same way he was with that sofa. Remember, like just inanimate objects get the anger of Ben Mitchell when he's in a mood about something.
Well, I'm expecting him to light up a cigarette whilst eating, like, you know what I mean? It's like insane.
And they've stopped Ben smoking. Have you noticed as well? He doesn't smoke anymore. I'm glad
that was a flash in the pan. That was a weird.
Away from that. That was odd. That was odd.
Randomly started smoking. I mean, I wouldn't mind it if he now and then you see him like in the square just flicking away a cigarette. Or
it would suit
like
him actually. It would suit him.
It
would suit his character.
Just random. Just started smoking one day and then quit. Yeah. I'm sure Callum got him some nicotine patches.
I imagine Callum was not keen on the idea. You stinker tags. I'm not coming anywhere near you.
Don't kiss me. You stink.
No. And he was like, oh well.
So luckily Ben is now been asked. So that's all's well that ends well with that.
And it was a sweet, lovely scene between him and Jay. So yes, we take the mick, but we did enjoy the Ben and Jay scene because we love Ben and Jay together. So there we are.
Absolutely, 100%. So then we get to Lexi and her hen do, and Kim is organising her hen do because she's the maid of honour. Kim's the maid of honour of all people.
Lola's regretting that decision, isn't she? Ever so slightly.
So she's organising strippers in front of Lexi. Yeah. Lexi's in charge of the fireworks, as always is the
Lord.
thing. And Kim mentioned about maybe her mum coming along to the
search for Patsy Kensit begins.
So yes, Kensit is on the radar now. So
Kensit.
That brought up a few feelings, a few emotions within Lola. She got out her memory box, found an old photo of her and her mum. Sorry, again,
why was it only half a photo?
I don't know if they were trying to keep it like secret. Like it was like when they took out the picture of Billy when Keeble wanted Phil to get on down, and they kind of hid the photo. Maybe it wasn't originally meant to come out, and it did come out. I don't know.
It was just an odd choice because I was looking at that photo and thinking, what am I supposed to be looking at here? Is it the little girl or the half-faced woman that I'm supposed to be looking at here? I don't get it.
I was confused by it all. I was really confused by it all. Lexi's done a project for school, her heroes, and she made her mum close her eyes for 8 hours because the episode ended with her eyes closed. And then started the next episode with her eyes open.
Lola kind of got changed at the time that Lexi hadn't allowed to open her eyes.
I'm just going to get changed.
And then she's still standing in the corner like, can I open these yet, please? My eyes have become desensitized to light. I can't, please let me. I mean, all of this was quite sweet, to be honest. I mean, I tell you, Danielle Harold is just stunning during this storyline, isn't she? She's just great. I'm really gonna miss Lola.
to kind of have this remarkable to show her worth.
I know, it's just a shame that it's this storyline that's going to result in her exit. But yeah, so she is now presumably going to be on the search for her mum. Well, no, she changed her mind by the end of the week, but then Billy thought it would be an amazing idea for a wedding present to find Patsy Kensit. So Patsy Kensit presumably is going to turn up. I think she has got another name, but until that name is told to me, she's called Patsy Kensit.
She's Patsy Kensit.
Is going to sort of appear on wedding day, maybe. What do you think? I think that might be a good time.
Oh no, I thought she'd come a bit earlier. I wanted to be there with a hen pie. I'm looking forward to this hen pie episode. I think it's going to be remarkable.
Walks in to see Lola sitting on a stripper. That's my girl.
Patsy Kensit is the stripper. That'd be a switch, wouldn't it?
That'd be just burst out.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. President. I like that Lola, Jay suggested that Lola spoke to Sharon because Sharon looked for her mum 35 years ago. How Jay knew this.
I was like, because at one point, Jay just turned around, well, Sharon's done it. And Sharon's done what?
Yeah, look for her mum.
Look how that turned out.
Well, I tell you how it turned out, which really winds me up, because at the time Ben and I, because we were watching the classic episode, she went to find her mum.
Yes.
This is Sharon. She went to find her mum. She completely disrupted her poor mum's whole family. She was basically giving birth at the time she found out that she had Sharon arrived.
Right.
At the hospital. She then had made her tell her husband that she had a daughter, like when she was younger. Her husband left her, and then Sharon decided she didn't want anything to do with her. That was the story.
Does that mean that Sharon's got more? So Sharon's got more siblings out there that could show up one day.
Yeah, she's got a half brother and a sister.
Oh, she's got a sister. Oh, well, that sister's definitely going to show up one day. It's going to take one look for a producer to look through Sharon's Wikipedia. Oh, there's a sister. Let's bring her in.
Yeah. No, might as well build up the Watts. Build up the Watts.
Why not? Build up the Watts.
I mean, yeah. But no, I mean, Sharon gave her advice and said, like, perhaps sometimes when you see your family, your siblings, it's not what you expect it to be. And that kind of is what makes the decision for Lola not to kind of rip up the past and kind of just remember it the way it is. I don't know. I just thought that was really bad advice from Sharon, because really Sharon was the one who decided not to spend time with her mum. It wasn't the other way around.
In terms of real parents showing up in Sharon's life, it's not exactly gone to plan either way, has it?
And also, in a way, it kind of like she got her brother Zack, and that worked out really nicely for Sharon. So you think that Sharon would be a bit more kind of encouraging rather than how she was with Lola?
It's a terrible idea. Don't do that. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Well, but obviously, like I say, by the end of the week, Lola's sort of just gone, right, actually, no, I won't do that. And Billy is now on the search for Patsy Kensit. So how's this going to play out? How long is it going to take? Because there's no record of Patsy Kensit anywhere at the moment. So how is Billy going to find this woman?
I don't know.
Miraculously, just sort of, but like Zack did with Lewis. He's just going to drive around. There she is. Like, get in the car. We're off to Walford.
Just drive around London and look for them. There she is.
There she is. That'll do.
I mean, maybe Billy has a record of the last time.
Maybe.
Because, he is, related in one way or another.
He
so
can make
maybe
a few phone calls and probably find it that way.
He might be able to find them one way or another. Probably, easier than what Lola would, because Lola's completely been cut from contact. While Billy probably at least knows roughly what she's up to or where she lives. So it does make some sense. I mean, she's not on the adoption register. So that would be a tough thing for her to find. But I'm all for Patsy Kensit. I'm very excited to see Patsy Kensit.
I've wanted Patsy Kensit in EastEnders for years, honestly. Yeah. I think she's going to be amazing. And the fact that Lexi said something this week about so my grandma's out there somewhere. I can kind of see them to be a reason for Patsy Kensit to return if this is only a little guest stint for a little bit more of a permanent basis, because obviously Lexi will be in her life, and maybe she might turn to Lexi and go, "Oh, you're endearing. I'll stay for you." Possibly. She might not, there's that possibility. So I like the fact that there's a little bit of a kind of extra Lola-ness out there, and Patsy Kensit could return, because I think Patsy Kensit will be great in EastEnders. Honestly, I think. Yeah, I think she'd slot in quite well.
Is she staying? Because obviously. No, because now Danny Dyer's gone. There's some budget being brought back into the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new landlady.
Well, no, yeah, and you don't know. She could be. What if she? Do you think she's going to be good, bad, indifferent?
indifferent at first, and then I think she'll be sort of, and then become incredibly attached, and then it'll, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this next section of the story to start. We still don't know how long Lola has. Lola has been kind of accepting the fact that I know I'm not going to be around forever now. So that sort of acceptance seems to have. I mean, Lola's the only one that seems to really have accepted it. Everybody else going like, don't talk like that, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. So
live forever, Lola.
So it's one day a cure will come along before we get to that point. Don't worry, Lola, it's going to be fine. So it's going to be interesting to sort of. Could be like I say, we don't know. We don't know when Lola is eventually going to leave us. So we've got a few revelations to come for this storyline yet. But
that's what I mean.
Everyone
I think
involved is great.
Yeah, everyone. To be fair, everyone is being great, and I love the kind of Billy and Honey relationship toward it as well. And because obviously there's a lot of ends that need to be tied up. Because as the time comes for Lola's goodbye, Lexi needs to kind of like get settled in somewhere, and Jay obviously needs to kind of settle it into his own mind and deal with it as well, and accept it. He needs to accept it. I'm still on board for Lola getting pregnant. I want to see Lola on her deathbed giving birth.
It's not going to happen now.
I want it to happen badly.
She's not going to still be around in 9 months, Alex. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Get it out your head. It's not going to
One last thing, and it was a very passing comment on Monday's episode, but Rocky mentioned that he still hasn't arranged his plans for the wedding with Kathy yet, knowing full well that he's already married. So,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's been plonked in as a kind of just a quick comment in the cafe on Monday's episode.
Missed that.
I spot anything to do with Rocky and Kathy. Anything to do with Kathy.
Anything to do with Kathy. You're on, aren't you? Yeah,
I'm on it. So that's obviously, I'm presuming that's been kind of been reminded now, so we can get back to that story real soon too. So that's quite exciting to find out a bit more with that. Lovely. Well, there you go. That's the week summed up fairly concisely, I feel, for us. That was
good week.
Not too much. Good week. I enjoyed it. Not an exciting week, just a week of
a decent week,
soapy fun. Yeah, that's it. We've had a few people get in touch with us actually on a few comments on Instagram and email. So let's read them out. Instagram as we go to I Ain't One to Gossip.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we go to I Ain't One to Gossip. And the first message I have is from Jeff Durst. I don't know if I mentioned Jeff Durst. He sent me a lovely email.
It sounds familiar.
He does. However, he's complimentary towards me, but not quite so complimentary towards Zack, it would transpire. Am I the only one who finds Zack utterly annoying? Here, yes, I'm afraid so. When I heard that they were lining up the HIV storyline for Zack, I was excited at the prospect of an issue-based story depicting a heterosexual with the virus. The statistics are increasingly showing a prevalence of new infections in straight men and women and a decline in gay men. What I do not appreciate is Zack's self-absorption with himself. Thus far, we've not seen him demonstrate any concern for the litany of women he may have infected since his time in Walford. An imperative part of this storyline should be Zack notifying these women and others of his infection. In order for the storyline to be effective and realistic, there must be accountability in this regard. Finally, while you're both great, I adore Rob's personality.
I mean, deja vu. He's got a point, to be fair. He has got a point. He's quite a...
I've seen a few people talk about Zack's sort of reaction to all this online and kind of be critical about it, but I sort of get it because this hasn't kind of landed in his head properly yet. You know, he's terrified, he's scared. You know, no matter how many times Brett might turn around to him and say, "Look, it's okay. This is not a life sentence. I have had medication, and I can now have a perfectly normal sex life and a normal life and everything." It is at the same time a terrifying prospect to go and tell people face to face, which is again why I think we were both surprised that the clinic does that for you. I had no idea that this happened.
I was shocked to find that. Yeah, absolutely shocked.
Maybe it's more to highlight that in the aspect of why they haven't exactly had Zack turn around to him, like explain it to people. I don't know.
I mean, I saw someone had written one of the storyliners. Please forgive me if you listen to the show. Had posted on his social media that the number of people researching getting tested for HIV had spiked on Google.
Yes,
this past week or two.
I think it was.
Something along those lines, and I feel like that. And to be fair, but what's always been a criticism, or has recently been a criticism on the show, is that the fact that they say something happens and then you don't kind of go into it. It kind of there's the beginning there's the end, but there's never the middle bit. And I do like, despite the nurse being a little bit bad, I do like the fact that you saw him going to the clinic, you saw him having the conversation, you saw him getting tested, you saw the test coming positive, you then saw the next process. So actually the process is actually being shown on screen. So it kind of comforts someone who does feel like, maybe I need to take that step and go get tested, because they know what they're getting themselves into.
It's why you do this storyline, isn't it? It's why you do this.
And it's why you do it.
And, you know, and they haven't even stuck a helpline at the end of the episode, I don't think, have they, for this storyline with Zack yet, have they?
They don't do that much at the moment, BBC Action Line. They put it at the end of random things. Like, I'm sure they put it at the end of The Apprentice last night. If you've been affected by Alan Sugar's pointing.
Alan Sugar. Well,
call the BBC Action Line.
You want to talk about Alan Sugar and being affected by Alan
yes,
Sugar.
what he tweeted, yes.
Stupid man.
That was naughty, Alan.
Stupid. I don't understand how someone with his business mind could have the same sort of social media competence as one of those stupid people that posts on the actual EastEnders website and can't spell and says things are woke when they don't exist. I don't understand.
To be fair, I feel like Alan Sugar's again, Alan, I'm sorry if you listen to the show, but I feel like he's getting to the. You never know. I feel like he's getting to the point as one of those angry men who shouts at clouds positions. You know what I mean? He's becoming slightly like that. I feel like.
Well. Yeah, I know that all too well.
So there we are, bless him. But I agree. I mean, I agree with some of what Jeff written on that email, but I do feel like there was the right choice to give it to Zack. I think it's a good actor who could play it very well, and it's being written sublime. So spot on for me. I got sublime. That's awful. Just call me Porky. I got a message on Instagram from I don't know.
Now you've opened that up again.
I know. Like an old wound, I've opened it up. From Lamb Foster Mummy. Hi, Lamb Foster Mummy. She gets in touch from time to time on Instagram, and we converse on Instagram. But I felt like I wanted to read this question out to both of us, because I think this is right up your alley, Rob.
All right.
So
go on.
She has written, if you were to write for EastEnders, which character would you create a storyline for, and what would it be? Thanks for the fantastic show. It is much appreciated. John, do you want me to go first, or are you happy to jump in? Because I know straight away what I want.
Off the top of my head, I would revisit some of Jay's drug history. Because I think often with Jay, the temptation is to kind of... What they normally do when they're referring to Jay's history is to talk about Jace. Not very often have we spoken about the fact that Jay actually at one point was quite badly addicted to drugs. So I think this Lola stuff would be a nice opportunity to sort of explore that. I like the opportunity for Ben to play the sort of the Jay role in their relationship every now and again. You know, when he has to pick Jay up from the floor. So often it's Jay like being Ben's comfort blanket, so to speak. So I like it when Ben gets to do it the other way around. So yeah, that's what at the top of my head, that's what I do for a start. What about you?
Well, I this isn't new, and I've told you this story before, and I think I may have mentioned it. It's the Phil thing. I have to bring it up. I want to bring it up because I'm desperate for someone to pick it up. So I want, basically, if I became a writer or an executive producer on the show, my big story would be that Phil Mitchell would develop dementia or Alzheimer's, and basically it would be a 2-year thing, and you just literally see from beginning to end the slow and painful demise and how it affects everyone around him. Because if you think about it, Phil Mitchell, as much as I kind of say, I'm sick of him, he has affected the square. Like, he's pretty much touched everyone in that square in one way or another. Sharon, Keanu, Linda, everyone's been in one way or another been linked to him somehow. And I think he's just the perfect character to show how someone who would develop such an awful disease would basically the fallout of it in a community like that. I think Steve McFadden would play it very well. He's a great actor. We joke about his A's and this and the other, but he is a good actor. I think it would suit. I think it would suit Phil as well because of his alcoholism, and alcohol is a quite related links to it quite often as well. And yes, it would mean that it would be the end of the Phil Mitchell character. I get that, but I just think that it would be such a perfect end to a character like that. At the end of the day, he will always be remembered fondly despite his flaws or his mistakes. And so that's what I would do. If the BBC phoned me right now and said, "Hey Alex, do you want to be an executive producer?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right then, but only if I get to do this main story." That would be that's it. Of course it is. That would be literally my 2-3 year story arc. I would literally, from the beginning to the end of my tenure, that would be my big story, Phil Mitchell's dementia storyline. And it will start off very small little things like maybe like putting the kettle in the fridge, or like silly little things, and then he forgets how to, you see him cut a sandwich in a very awkward way, because it is silly things like that with dementia. Like I mean, I don't know if I've been open about this in the past, but someone very close to me has dementia, and it's watching them cutting a sandwich, and they you don't cut it diagonally, or they cut it in like a really awkward, like when they're cutting a cake, it's like this tiny little kind of weird angle, and there's the common test where you have to show on a clock face, write the numbers like that, and they put all the numbers in the top or all the numbers in the bottom right hand corner, because in their mind that looks correct. And I just think, done with in the current era, I'd let Clenners take. Clenners could easily do it with absolute compassion. Perfect. Other executive producers, I wouldn't let them touch it with a barge pole, but Chris Clenshaw, I would 100% let him touch it, as it were. And he would just do it really, really, really well. And so, long story short, I would give Phil Mitchell a long-term dementia Alzheimer's storyline, and I think it would be done perfectly for his exit. Anyway, I've talked too much. Is there anyone else you'd like to do?
Yeah, the other thing I do is I always thought it's about Lily, but now Lily's kind of a bit older, and so she's kind of the other thing I do. I'd love to see the Slaters going through a storyline where one of Stacey's kids, and this sounds extreme, but I would make it a very long runner, not just for like a couple of weeks, but like where one of the kids goes missing, but like for a long time, for like a long-term arc. So Stacey would have to like do sort of it would become a huge story, like across the country, about this little girl that's got missing, maybe Hope or
that'd be good,
like something like that, and then it all transpires that Martin's new girlfriend was behind it, or something like that, so just make this really long arc.
Really soapy twist that would be.
It'll be the next Who Killed Lucy, this huge arc where it's just like, we know that somebody on the square is responsible for this, and we don't know if the kid is alive or dead or what's gone on, and then one day it would just turn out that the kid is still alive. Please. No warehouses, not a single warehouse. But something like that, like a huge high scale type story, and really stick Lacey Turner at the center of it, because the woman is sublime.
Because you could make the ending to that. Oh, sorry, you could add on to that, tack on. You could add the ending of that as a live episode. The discovery of Lily or one of the kids. The live episode would be where who it was and where they find her.
Available EastEnders.
Just call me, number at the bottom.
No idea how available we are. Right, so that's it for another week. Do let us know in the comment section below any storylines, ideas that you've had. Who do you think deserves a storyline? Let us know. And you can do it by doing the following. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Walford Weekly. You can find us on Facebook at Walford Weekly Podcast. On YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe and click the bell to get notifications about our spoiler videos. And you can find us on Apple, Podbean, Spotify or any of your favourite podcast sites. You can email us at robwalfordweekly@gmail.com or alexwalfordweekly@gmail.com. Alex was blowing his nose while I said that.
I was doing it gently. No, I'm not. My nose is really almost got work later.
Honestly, how do you think he does it? This is the reason why he gets up so early in the morning, just for the cocaine. There we are then. So, lovely.
Never asleep.
Done and dusted. Never asleep. There we are. So, until next week, Alex, we'll do it again.
Yes, Rob.
Why the devil
I think we should. Maybe for a little while longer, eh?
There we are then. Until next week. Goodbye, dear listeners and viewers. From me.
And it's goodbye from myself. Take care to you all. Have a good one.
Bye.